Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking in on this video. My name's Braden, and if you guys are fans of horror, especially Halloween, Marvel, DC, and or Star Wars, this is probably the place for you. Consider clicking that subscribe button. And speaking of Halloween, today, this is a video I have wanted to do for such a freaking long time. I've had the thumbnail for this video ready to go. It's been made since like January. I've just had zero time to do it. But you know what? Today, I am going to go through every single Halloween canceled treatment, script, and idea that has ever been. And there's 19 different ideas right here that I'm going to go through. So I have no idea how long this video is going to be. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the titles of them and the synopsis and who it's by. And I am sorry if I mispronounce some of these names. I'm typically awful at pronouncing names, so I really apologize if you guys are like, that's not how you pronounce the name. Look, nobody's great at everything. I just happen to suck at pronouncing names, okay? Anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna read these ideas, then I'm gonna give the brief synopsis, and then I'm gonna say whether or not I would have liked to see that on the big screen or if it made sense for it to get canned. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started because, again, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. So Halloween 2 is the first one that is here on the list of Halloween scripts that had an original idea prior to it being the one that we know today as Halloween 2 1981 and the story that we have in the Halloween franchise. This original Halloween 2 idea, this was the original concept, and it was by John Carpenter for the 1981 movie. It says that the first initial idea for Halloween 2, it took place years later and had Laurie Strode living in a high-rise apartment building only for the shape to return on Halloween to cause carnage. It was scrapped because John Carpenter liked the idea of picking up on the same night more. And I did too. I think that Halloween 2 1981, it's one of my favorite Halloween sequels. I always liked the idea of watching Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2 1981 because it feels like a complete story. Even though Halloween 1978 technically in and of itself is a complete movie, I like the fact that Halloween 2 literally picks up moments after the events of 78 because it feels like you're just watching one long night happen, and I really do like that. So I would say that I'm liking the original concept more than the one that would have been. Coming up next, we've got Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now this is the original concept idea, and it was by Nigel Neal. I hope I said that right. This is from 1982. Basically an early version of Halloween 3, it had much less gore and was apparently more complicated and complex than what we got. John Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace did rewrites on the script and simplified it and made it gorier, which angered Nigel, and he forced the producers to remove his writing credit from the film. So I guess that Nigel just didn't want to make a violent movie. And because John Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace ended up doing some rewrites and also made it more violent, Nigel did not want any part to do with it. So, I don't know how much more complex that it could have gotten. I'm actually kind of curious to see, because the link I also have access to has access to some of the lost scripts and everything like that. But I don't think that the Halloween 3 one is involved with that. So I'd be curious to see how much more complicated that he wanted to go. Because I think that Halloween 3 is, I mean, it's not a complicated story if you pay attention to it. But I mean, I think that the gore factor is pretty good for what we got for Halloween 3. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Halloween 3 that we have right now in the franchise is fine. I think that Halloween 3 is what it is. You love it or you hate it. I like Halloween 3, and that's all there is to it. Heading into Halloween 4 by Dennis Etchison. Etchison? Yeah. I'm right. Revolves around Tommy and Lindsay along with other returning characters like Gary Hunt and Brackett years after the original massacre. It has lots of supernatural and psychological elements, including a Michael Myers who can grow in size. How do I feel about this? I don't know if I really like that. Honestly, I was on board with it because I had started this script. I've only read like the first like 25 pages or something like that. But I like the return of Tommy and Lindsay. I do actually like that. And based on what I've read, it looks like that there's very conflicting relationships with Lindsay's mom and how she looks at Tommy Doyle and everything like that. Lindsay wants to see Tommy. Tommy also wants to see Lindsay, but there's a conflict between Lindsay's parents allowing her to see Tommy because of the nutcase that he's become, which we do get a little bit of in Halloween 6. I just don't like the idea of a Michael Myers who can grow in size. I'm not really a fan of that. As of right now, until I'm able to read this entire script, I'm going to go ahead and say that Halloween 4, the one that we got, is the one I like more. Because the Halloween 4 script by Dennis Etchison is actually in this link. So I'd actually like to read that first before I confirm or deny whether or not I like his more or the one that we have. But Halloween 4 right now is one of my absolute favorite Halloween sequels. So I like Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers more. Geez, this is not a great start. I've liked all of the ideas that currently exist in the franchise more than these concepts. Probably makes sense. Moving into Halloween 5 by Shem Bitterman. This is from 1989. The first script for Halloween 5, it revolved around the ending of Halloween 4, furthering the idea of Jamie becoming fully evil, which would have been interesting. I actually think that this would have been awesome. Anyway, Danielle Harris and Donald Pleasance were on board with this idea. However, the idea was rejected by the studio and Akkad. Dominique Othenin-Gerard, that is a handful of a name, threw the script in the trash in front of Mustafa Akkad. Whoa. I mean, that would have made sense, though. Because of how Halloween 4 ended, I think that that would have been the way to go. See, why studios and producers tend to reject movies that actually make a lot of sense, I'm really not too sure about. But I guess this is something that they're known for. So I like this idea more than the Halloween 5 story that we currently have that's in the current franchise. I think that this would have been the right way to go, and I think it would have been a step in the right direction for the Cult of Thorn trilogy, because then they could have implemented that Thorn had gotten to Jamie. Like, that would have made a whole lot more sense than the story that we currently have implemented in Halloween 5, but that's just me. We got another Halloween 5 pitch by Robert Harders. So immature. A pitch by Robert Harders. It involved Michael being struck by lightning and being brought back to life. Geez, I wonder what this kind of sounds like. Where are my Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives fans at? And from there, it was basically a Frankenstein-esque story. Michael was no longer evil and was being hunted down by the townspeople, while Dr. Loomis was trying to reach Michael and trying to stop the townspeople from killing Michael. Huh? No, I don't like that. Like, come on. Michael's no longer evil because he gets struck by lightning. Are you kidding me? Come on. Jesus. I know exactly why this one got tossed because, wow. I just don't like that idea at all. So I'm going to say that I like the Halloween 5 that we have now more than I like this one. Michael's no longer evil. He's no longer pure evil. The main theme of what makes Halloween and Michael Myers. Come on now. Oh, we are on one of my favorite ones. One of my favorite synopses. Halloween 666. The Origin by Phil Rosenberg, 1994. A very strange script that has a homeless Michael Myers, virtual reality, and Tommy Doyle as one of the center characters. It also had cameos by other past characters such as Sheriff Meeker and Reverend Jack Sayer from Halloween 4, who is revealed to be the Man in Black in this script, and even has Loomis make an appearance as an insane asylum inmate. Doesn't that sound like a great Halloween movie, guys? Doesn't it? Well, I'll tell you right now, the script was tossed across the room by Mustafa Akkad. That script, to me, I'm not going to lie to you, I read that synopsis and like my jaw hit the floor. I could not believe that something so ridiculous could have gotten written. And I actually think that this is one of the scripts that it's involved on this site too. So if you guys want to check this out, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description box so you guys can see all of these ridiculous ideas. But this is one of them, and my gosh. You want to talk about cheesiness and everything like that? This would have taken the franchise God knows where. Heading into the next idea, Michael Myers, Lord of the Dead. This is a treatment by Danielle Ferrans, who actually, Danielle Ferrans wrote Halloween 6. And he's also the man that's behind some of the most recent garbage horror films, such as The Haunting of Sharon Tate and The Haunting of whatever one that came out this past year that was just as bad. But he wrote this one. It's a treatment submitted by Daniel Ferrans as a sequel to Halloween 6. Makes sense considering the fact that he was the writer of Halloween 6. The details are unknown, but it presumably would have picked up right where Halloween 6 left off. So instead of getting Halloween H2O, we would have gotten Michael Myers' Lord of the Dead. And because there's no real plot details, I can't really confirm or deny whether or not I would have liked that more than Halloween H2O. But I doubt it, because Halloween H2O is one of my favorite Halloween sequels. Alright, heading into the Halloween 7 treatment ideas, which is now known as Halloween H2O, but there are 3 different concepts for Halloween 7. So we've got Halloween 7, Two Faces of Evil, original Halloween H2O treatment, and Halloween 7, The Revenge of Laurie Strode. So the Halloween Two Faces of Evil, let's start with that. That's written by Robert Zapaya. It was supposed to be a direct-to-video sequel to Halloween 6, which involves Michael stalking an all-girl prep school where one of the students were related to Michael Myers. There was also a Silence of the Lambs element of a copycat killer helping the police catch Michael. When Jamie Lee Curtis got involved, most of the ideas of the script were scrapped and it incorporated ideas by Jamie Lee Curtis and was rewritten by Kevin Williamson. And obviously Kevin Williamson around this time was working on Scream, which is why there are very similar soundtracks in Halloween H2O right now, is because Kevin Williamson came over and helped out with Halloween H2O. But the all-girl prep school, that could have been interesting. I mean, I do like that, but I also like the idea that they have in Halloween H2O right now. So it looks like that they've taken some elements of that script and incorporated it into what did become the H2O script. But I like the H2O more than the Two Faces of Evil script. So sorry, Robert, but I like Halloween H2O more. The original Halloween H2O treatment by Kevin Williamson, 1997. A treatment that is similar in many ways to H2O, except Marion Chambers in the beginning is instead replaced by the daughter of Dr. Loomis, Rachel Loomis. Also, the ending is different as Michael gets sliced in half by a helicopter propeller. This is something I would have liked to have seen get pulled off. Michael gets chopped in half by a helicopter propeller? Sign me up. I want to know how the heck that climax ended up getting there. And I also like the idea of it being Rachel Loomis in the very beginning, a granddaughter of Dr. Loomis. But you have to think, the beginning of H2O was Michael Myers going through files at Marion Chambers' house. Would Rachel Loomis have all of those files at her house? I think it makes more sense that it was Marion Chambers, in my opinion. So I like the beginning more of Halloween H2O that we currently have, but I would have really liked to see how this climax came to be in this version of the script. Michael, again, gets sliced in half by a helicopter propeller. It's pretty impressive. All right, coming into our final concept of Halloween H2O, Halloween 7, The Revenge of Laurie Strode by Kevin Williamson. This was basically an early version of Halloween H2O, but it had lots of different things and scenes. It has a mention to Jamie from H4 through H6, and has a scene where a student does a presentation on all the murders through Halloweens 1 through 6. It also has a much larger body count and a whole subplot of Haddonfield PD attempting to track down Michael Myers. The finale takes place at a pool, and the Shape pleads for his life before he is impaled with a javelin by Laurie. See, I don't like the ending of that. The finale takes place at a pool, and the Shape pleads for his life. That humanizes Michael way too much. You know what I mean? Even when Michael Myers seems like he's defeated, he should never be pleading for anything. And I think that that's honestly one of the things that Halloween 2018 did really well. Michael Myers was in the trap that Laurie had set for him, and he wasn't pleading or anything like that. He wasn't like, help me, or anything like that. Tossed the thing in, and the fire started, and Michael just stood there looking at her. Not humanizing Michael is the best thing to do. I think that Michael Myers pleading for his life at the end of this, I don't really like that. I do like the much larger body count. I don't like the whole subplot of Haddonfield PD attempting to track down Michael Myers. What else? I'm just kind of reading this backwards right now. I do like how they've got the Easter eggs implemented from all of the other Halloween movies. I think that that's good. I think that fan service is good. I think as long as it's crafted around a well-developed story, fan service is always good. So I would have been okay to see this. But it also had a lot of different things and scenes than Halloween H2O did. But Halloween H2O is one of my favorites. So, I mean, out of all of these, I'd have to say that the original H2O treatment by Kevin Williamson is probably the best. That was the middle one of those. Bringing us to Halloween 8. So this is the original treatment then of Halloween Resurrection, as we know of. Halloween 8, the treatment by Phil Nutman. Anyway, the Halloween 8 treatment by Phil Nutman and Danielle Ferrans, 1999. Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace rummage through the files and diaries of Dr. Loomis, learning of the events that transpired during Michael Myers' 15 years of incarceration at Smith's Grove. Basically a prequel intercut with present day. The final twist of the story was that although it appeared Michael Myers had returned for another night of terror, it was none other than Laurie Strode behind the mask. This treatment was later adopted into the Chaos Comics 3-issue series. So it looks like that this story currently does exist, but it's in a comic book series now, which is cool. You know, maybe later on down the line when people are looking for more Halloween movie ideas, maybe they will turn to the comics. For those of you that are fans of the comics, this may possibly come to life one day on the big screen. Just who knows as of right now. I do like this story. I think that it would be really cool to, you know, kind of see Michael Myers' years during incarceration. I do think that that could be very, very interesting. I'm not really a giant fan of Laurie being behind the mask, but I mean, a lot of people say that that does make sense because it's like she drove herself insane to where she almost became like a copycat of Michael Myers. So I do like this idea. And to be honest, I actually would have liked it more than Halloween Resurrection, because I'm not a Resurrection fan by any stretch of the imagination. I think that it's a ridiculous concept, a ridiculous movie, and I just like this one more. Bringing us into another one of 1999, Halloween H2K, Evil Never Dies, by unknown bunch of writers. In August, that's how that sentence starts. On August 7th, Paul Friedman, who at the time produced Halloween 4, 6, and H2O, announced a new film titled Halloween H2K, Evil Never Dies. It took place back in Haddonfield. It was slated for a fall 2000 release, and many writers were working on it. Apparently, the script required many of the cast from Halloween H2O to return. Another rumor said that this film had Michael going after Jamie's baby from Halloween 6, Steven, but this is most likely false. It was to be filmed in Salt Lake City, where 4 through 6 were filmed. The film never happened due to a legal battle between Dimension and Weinstein and the Akkads. So this wasn't necessarily a synopsis, so I can't really go based off of this because this is just a little brief history about that film. But it looks like that this was a movie that was supposed to be made, and yes, come out in fall of 2000. But because of the legal battle between Dimension and the Akkads, it looks like that never ended up getting made. So I really don't know how to look at that concept. Bringing us to the 2003 to 2005 script by an unknown writer, Halloween Family Reunion, which was the working title. The script had many different drafts written for it. This script would try to connect the H2O timeline with the original timeline by answering many questions, and has mention of the Man in Black as well as Jamie and Laurie. Supposedly, it had John Tate dying under mysterious circumstances and involved Dr. Loomis's son taking on the investigation and the hunt for Michael Myers. The script was never put into production due to the death of Mustafa Akkad. Aww. Rest in peace, Mustafa Akkad. Seriously, you were awesome. Thank you for all of the Halloween movies that you have given us. Seriously, I find enjoyment, even though I don't like some of them, I find enjoyment in all of them. Bringing us into, I think, one of the most interesting scripts by Duddy Appleton and Jim Keeble, Halloween 9, Retribution. This is the sequel to Halloween Resurrection. This script picks up from Halloween Resurrection and involves John Tate returning to avenge the death of his mother, Laurie Strode, accompanied by Lee Brackett, who seeks revenge for his daughter, Annie Brackett, who was killed by Michael in 1978. Freddie Harris from the previous film is killed in the first few minutes. It ends with Michael Myers drowning in a frozen lake and John Tate staring at the dark eyes of Michael Myers' mask, perhaps implying he will turn evil in future installments. Ooh, interesting. The script, however, was never put into production due to the abrupt death of Mustafa Akkad, godfather of the Halloween franchise. So, hold on. I'm a little confused because this one says the exact same thing as the other one. So which one was going to go into development? Because these were all written around the same time. Were they going to make both of them? I don't know, but Halloween Retribution is definitely a script that I would like to see come to life. I think that this is a really, really cool idea, especially because it does further develop the story of John Tate, because Halloween Resurrection didn't do anything with him. So I would have liked to see Halloween Retribution. All right, guys, we're on like our final 5, so stick with me. Thank you guys for sticking with me this long. All right, Halloween: The Missing Years, 2006. This is by Jake Wade, and this is a script which revolves around the childhood of Michael Myers and what happened during his time interned at Smith's Grove. They were in the stages of attaching a director to the script, but they instead opted out to go with Rob Zombie's script instead. And I think the reason that they ended up going with Rob Zombie's script instead of this one is because Rob Zombie's script also had the childhood side of Michael Myers implemented in that story. And then it fast forwarded because the first 45 minutes of Rob Zombie's script is pretty much the childhood and the background of Michael Myers and the home life of Michael Myers. And then it fast forwards to go 15 years later to his adult life. So I think that that's the big reason as to why they decided to go with Rob Zombie's script. So I gotta say, I think that Zombie did a decent job. I actually would have liked to have seen The Missing Years, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that, you know, I'm happy with Zombie's first installment, but I would have liked to see this. Halloween Asylum by Matt Verne and Josh Goldfinger and Peter Stolberg, 2004 through 2014. This script acts as a loose sequel to Resurrection. It doesn't have any returning characters except Michael Myers and only references the first film. It has Michael Myers on death row after being captured during a police operation, only for him to break out and cause havoc in Smith's Grove. Ooh. Inside Smith's Grove, that'd be interesting. Some elements of this script were borrowed and implemented in Rob Zombie's Halloween, which obviously we know the scene where he is breaking loose and he's killing all those guards and everything like that. Very interesting stuff. But it looks like the idea that was actually borrowed from that script is the idea where Michael's room with the makeshift masks everywhere. Later in 2014, the idea was rewritten by Goldfinger and Stolberg with the same concept of Michael Myers being on death row, but that never took off either, but was later incorporated into the return script. So with Halloween Asylum, I actually think that this does sound interesting, and I actually would have liked to see this. There are concepts in this that I do really like that we did actually get to see come to life in Rob Zombie's Halloween film, and then I really wanted to see Halloween Returns. I'm going to talk about that one here right after this one. Halloween 3D by Todd Farmer and Patrick Luzier, 2009. I actually read this script, so this is the synopsis of Halloween 3D. This script follows directly from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 T-cut, though the theatrical cut. Laurie accidentally kills Brackett, and then it jumps to a year later with Laurie in a rehabilitation center. The script is insane, even more so than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. There is a scene where Michael kills an entire SWAT team. At the end of the script, Laurie dies and Michael escapes. Yeah, I didn't like the script at all. It's honestly, it makes Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 almost look like a masterpiece, honestly, and I'm not really a fan of Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's edition. This is a mess of a script, and I think that the concept is first draft, and it shows. This script would have needed a lot of rework done to it, and yeah, I just didn't like it. But the last but not least is going to Halloween Returns by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan, 2015. Now, as many of you guys know, this is literally the Halloween movie that was supposed to get made. Dimension had announced it. They said that Halloween Returns is about to start filming. They had the filming locations and everything. A film which only counts the original canon but retcons it to add in more carnage on that night, as well as Halloween 2. Gary Hunt and his family are central characters in its story, and it involves Michael being on death row. However, he escapes and more carnage breaks out. The film was never made due to Dimension losing the rights to the Halloween series. Guys, Halloween Returns is by far, I actually have the script open right here on my computer. I do really want to reread it because it is by far, I think, the most original, inventive way to how you should have brought back Halloween, because I truly think that the Halloween Returns, it would have been fresh for a new generation of Halloween lovers, because not a whole lot of people today are going to sit down and watch Halloween 1978 and appreciate it for what it is. Like, filmmakers, film lovers, they'll eat that movie up all the time, or at least they should. Modern day teenagers, they just like the jump scares, or they like gore. They don't like things that you have to think about. They don't like those psychological elements. And if they do, it's very rare to find teenagers that appreciate that today. But I think that if they were going to even get them interested in Halloween, instead of doing what they did with 2018, Halloween Returns would have been the way to do it, because it's original. It retcons even the original, which I didn't even really like at first. Like, when I read that synopsis, I thought it was kind of stupid. But reading this script, man, this script is freaking awesome. I mean, the vibes in it, the Michael Myers in it, the story in it, it's got likable characters, well-rounded, fleshed out characters that are actually really good. I would have loved to see it. So that's it, guys. That is all of the canceled Halloween scripts, treatments, and ideas. So with that being said, post your guys' comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the Halloween movies that we got, or would you have liked to see some of these ideas be implemented in the Halloween franchise? Some of them have been, but would you have liked to see the entire story play out in a movie? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 5,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.